It's just this weird thing in Canada where like somebody has an extra 50 to 100K and they're like, what do I do with it? Like, it's got to be real estate. It's like, no, it doesn't have to be real estate. Like, you don't have to buy a condo.
Mhm.
There's other investment vehicles, but for whatever reason in Canada, that's just what everybody jumps to.
The landlords right now are tighter than ever. They don't
Well,
want
yes.
people in their units. They're like
Oh, yeah.
10%, you know, like they want to make sure that you and your cousins and your uncles and everybody is going to be on the hook if you don't pay, because there's people are nervous to rent to people right now. And you have options. You got 10 people bidding on a rental unit. So it's like, I'm going to be as selective as I need to be.
How shit the world has become and how hellish Kitchener and Bradford and I don't know. Did you see? I saw this Brantford, but like these are places that were supposed to be affordable, like a refuge for people that can't afford the two big cities in Canada. Right now, you got 10 cities in Kitchener, which Kitchener smells like shit, by the way, like complete manure 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who's buying. People, there's 30-story condos in Kitchener beside nothing, and crackheads on the street everywhere, and I see cranes everywhere. Like,
mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that's the same everywhere.
It seems to be.
So how is this happening? Like, I went to a place this weekend and it was packed, and this place was friggin' expensive, man. And then there's tent cities like 15 minutes away.
Right.
Like, what's going on out here?
Well, I think like to your point about these cities or suburbs that were once viewed as affordable becoming less so, I think COVID just accelerated a trend that was starting to already happen, right? Because you get work from home, and so you have Toronto salaries competing with local salaries on housing prices. So of course it's going to push up the marginal cost of housing in that particular area, right? It's no different with like what's happening with Calgary right now, where the market's going absolutely bananas. The strongest pre-construction market in the country, and nobody who's buying pre-construction in Calgary is even in Calgary. In fact, most of them have never even been there and have no plans to go there, right? It's just Toronto investors, and so they're willing to pay 20% more than the thing's worth because it's it's still so much cheaper than Toronto. So I mean, Kitchener's no different. Like, COVID happens, you see rents in Kitchener rip, right? So a one bedroom's $2,000 a month there, but you can buy a pre-construction condo there for $1,000 a foot. And so the numbers work better. And so that's the pitch the developers put in their deck, and Toronto investors see that pitch and go, yeah, this does make sense.
You last time on the show, you were talking about Hamilton and just the difference, like rent versus price and ratios and stuff like that. It was obvious that buying in Hamilton made more sense at that time. Like, is there another not like a secondary city that has that type of, rent to price ratio in Ontario? Or is it like they don't exist anymore and now Calgary's the only place to get it?
No, it just keeps pushing further out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's that.
Like, is there a launch recently that you've seen, like outside of the GTA? And those numbers, by the way, those are Toronto GTA numbers, right? The 800.
Yeah.
So is there sites right now that are launching where, like, I don't know, Barrie or
Barrie. There's one launching in Barrie right now, Lakeview.
Okay.
Similar idea as Hamilton in terms of the price versus the rent, very comparable to Hamilton.
And you're looking at that deal and you could say, like, I can see why people are buying it. It makes sense.
Yeah, like I can understand from their point of view why paying $1,000 a foot there makes more sense than paying, $1,700 a foot downtown for sure.
And
but the Calgary deals you've looked at, you're like, those don't make sense.
No, I mean, they make sense. They do make sense, right? From a number standpoint. I mean, they're cash flow neutral, in some cases, cash flow positive. Mm-hmm. It's just interesting to me, like, to have a relatively illiquid asset that's a 5-hour, 4-hour flight away from you. Like, I get it. The developers are offering property management and whatnot, but it seems like a little bit of hysteria around getting your hands on a Calgary pre-construction. Like, I don't think it's the right move for everyone, right? Yeah. It's just this weird thing in Canada where like somebody has an extra 50 to 100K and they're like, what do I do with it? Like, it's got to be real estate. It's like, no, it doesn't have to be real estate. Like, you don't have to buy a condo. There's other investment vehicles, but for whatever reason in Canada, that's just what everybody jumps to.
I was talking to a receiver.
It works well for me. I love that assumption. Keep making that assumption, Canadians, because it benefits me.
I was talking to a receiver. So they took a property over like 10 years ago in New Brunswick. It was like a high-end rental, right? And obviously, things didn't go so well. High-end condo building. They sell 1 unit a year. It's just under receivership. They've got it. They've got a bunch of them listed. They're trying. There's just no market for this building. And, the lender who obviously approved the construction maybe didn't, expect this to happen. The developer went bankrupt, went under receivership, and they sell 1 unit a year. So it's interesting to hear, that in Calgary right now it's booming, but like, where else could this really take off? I mean, I don't see anybody doing them in Halifax or any of these other places that
it's definitely starting in Halifax.
It's starting, eh?
Yeah, it's starting.
Okay.
And Edmonton's next for sure. I mean, it's just
next.
It's just going to keep pushing out.
It's got to keep rolling. Well, this is the thing. So you got all these people that are sitting there going, hold on a second, people in tents, more people coming, people spilling out of houses. They have to live somewhere, right? So you have people still willing to buy housing because they want to provide these rents for people, right? As these rents are going crazy. But like, who's paying these rents? Like, who's for these shitholes? Did you see somebody posted literally a closet in somebody's condo for $980 a month? Like literally a closet, like with the electrical panel.
It's actually really messed up because the average condo rent in Toronto is now $3,000 for 677 square foot. Like that's the average, right?
That's crazy. So, but
like $3,000 a month, like that's 3,600 or 36 G's a year. Like, so in falling in line with the 30% of your gross income, like you're talking about a salary of $110,000, $120,000 a year for your average. I mean, what's 677? Like that's an older 5-10-year-old 1+ den, right? Got to be earning 110 to 120 to comfortably afford it. Now, obviously, we know people are not comfortably affording anything right now. They're stretching away
without help.
Like it's not uncommon to see people, spending 40-50% of their income on rent. So you are seeing people stretch way outside of that 30% rule, you could call it, right? But I mean,
the rule's out the window, man. That rule is long gone.
Well, the landlords aren't throwing that rule out the window. The landlords right now are tighter than ever. They don't want people in their units. They're like 10%, like they want to make sure that you and your cousins and your uncles and everybody is going to be on the hook if you don't pay, because people are nervous to rent to people right now. And you have options. You got 10 people bidding on a rental unit. So it's like, I'm going to be as selective as I need to be.
For sure.
And they're all, and by the way, the amount of applications that are totally fraudulent is through the roof. It's like 40% of the applications I see roll it. Like we've got like in the last month and a half, we've done like 30 or 40 leases. Yeah. And I see the applications because our brokerage has a WhatsApp group and we share stuff, and it's like
the fake ones.
Yeah, and some of them are so poorly faked. It's remarkable. Like somebody's first day in Photoshop.
Yeah. Unbelievable. But you have to, because look, if you're starting out here, even if you make 20 something bucks an hour and work full-time hours, you make 40 grand a year. And if there's two of you doing that, that's 80 grand a year. And guess what 80 grand a year gets you? I don't even know if it's like groceries now is 80 grand a year. If you want to even eat remotely decent food. Like, I'm not kidding. Like the grocery store is insane. I can't even go in there anymore. And I told my wife, don't tell me how much you paid every time you come back, because I don't want to know. Like you literally, I don't understand how people are doing this. Like food prices doubled. They really doubled. Maybe more than doubled. Like, comment, and subscribe if you got anything from one of these clips. And if you want to see some more, press something on the screen here. Boom.
That was good.
That was good. I like that. That was good.